Chilly outside. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So today, we're going to be tackling batteries. And most of the batteries here on the 2001 Silverado that I have and the 2009 Escalade. And the big thing with the Silverado is that this is now March. So it's warmed up a little bit since the last time I was trying to get in the truck. The truck is dead. So there is no lights. Put the key in. No noises, no dings, no dongs. Absolutely dead. So back in January, I wanted to fire this up just to make sure that everything was all good and everything's still running fine and stuff. Get all the fluids moving in the truck. And I noticed that on this side, the battery was actually bulging out. So the battery had froze and the battery was likewise completely dead. So whenever your battery freezes inside, it can expand those cells and damage components inside the battery itself. And then if you try jumping or charging a frozen battery, there's a slight chance it could explode. Mostly because like the gases that it'll expel as it's doing stuff, if those ports are frozen, so that the gases are able to like build up inside the ice, that's what builds that pressure and that's what could explode. If it's able to build the gases outside the ice where they're able to vent properly, then you don't have to worry about it so much. But you never know where it's going to build those gases as it's charging. So today's a warmer day. And I'm kind of hoping I can jump this off. Now, we've had a couple above freezing weeks, and including a couple of like 70-degree days. But it's also gotten cold again. And like right now, it's only about 20 degrees outside. So there's a slight chance this isn't going to be a super great idea to do, but we're going to use the boost pack that I reviewed last year. I've been using this quite a good bit on the Escalade because we actually had an issue with the Escalade with the last time it really got a good cold snap, and it kind of took out the battery on the Escalade and 2 tire pressure sensor batteries. But you basically, you hook this up, go power on. It tells you the power level. And it'll also tell you, like if it's hooked up right, it would start going ding, 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 and telling you that it's hooked up properly and ready to jump start. So with this reading like this, the battery's so dead, it doesn't even know that it's hooked to a battery. There's this override button that you can push. And you can see now, so this is what it would look like if you had it hooked to a battery properly. So I'm going to try and fire it up real quick. So this is purely coming off of the jump box. We got light. What the hell to do to the keys? I found them. And then every vehicle's a little different. This one likes to kind of be keyed on first, and then turn the key back off, and then go back key on. All right. So that's up and running. And then the nice thing with my particular truck is that I have it tuned so that it idles at 1,000 RPM. So this should make decent power for a little bit. A not so great thing about my truck is that, you can see how this is kind of powered off right here. There's a possible ground issue that kind of causes this sometimes. But especially when you lightly tap on the dash like that and it brings it back, it's probably going to be that ground issue. So there's some more work that I need to do on this. But this should be good to let it sit and charge for a bit. I'll just remove the battery jumper and then I'll get the Escalade jumped off. Alright, so onto the Escalade. Now the Escalade's been kind of flirting with not quite enough power for a while. And it's going to be one of those things where it might just be not quite dead today. But we'll find out. I'm kind of hoping she's dead. So real quick, we'll just hit unlock. So it's got enough power to unlock it. And we'll see if it's got enough power to fire up. Nope. Yep. Not enough power to fire up. So it's got enough that it kind of semi-engages the starter, and that's about it. And then I've got this powered up that we can kind of see its state of charge. So this was fully charged. So this last box that's gray right there is no longer green. So it was fully charged. So now it's down, I think this is like 75% charge. And then once I complete this circuit by hooking up the negative side, which is a little bit weird on like the Tahoes, the Escalades, where the battery's tucked back here. It's supposed to do with your dumb hand. Alright, there we go. So that's all hooked up. You can see it shows it's hooked up. Oh, quit putting the keys away. Just put them on the seat. We'll see if we got enough to crank her over. Yep, good to go. I just kind of moved the Escalade over to the side. That way we're next to the truck now. And kind of how I said I was lucky that the truck was tuned, that way it would idle at 1,000. You can kind of see the Escalade's idling below 1,000. And then once the Escalade warms up, the Escalade will idle only at about 500 RPM. So if you're going to let the vehicle kind of idle and charge itself up, you want to make sure you got everything turned off. So you don't want to have your radio, headlights, AC running if possible. So you kind of want to turn off as much stuff as you can, and hopefully you'll be good. Now if you remember my other videos, my tire pressure sensors were working, but we had about a month ago a really cold day. That really cold day was not good on the Escalade, and essentially it damaged the main battery. So that's why this battery is acting up now, like the main car battery, enough that now it's a weak battery. So most days it'll kind of sort of start, but if we have a drastic change in temperature, it won't start, and I'll have to jump it just like I did earlier. Also, it caused both tire pressure sensors on the passenger or the right side to no longer read. So it probably wiped out the batteries in those as well. They were probably a little bit weak anyway. Most tire pressure sensors, the battery's only supposed to last about 100,000 miles or 10 years. So this being a 2009 with like 220,000 miles, it's about time for tire pressure sensors. Maybe even a second set of tire pressure sensors. But because those are dead, when I fixed I had the leak repaired on the driver's side rear tire, when they went to relearn the sensors, it didn't work. So now I'm kind of stuck with the light because it can't relearn sensors, so I have to pick up new sensors at some point in time. So it doesn't read anything, and it gives me the light down here. And then recently, this ABS light started coming on with this dead battery stuff. Could be completely unrelated. When I scanned it, it said like a low voltage in the ABS. So there might be something going on, maybe an internal ABS shortage or something like that, or it could be the dead battery kind of stuff messing with the ABS a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to replace the battery, and we'll see how it winds up going. Truck's been idling for a while. This is about the third time the cooling fan's kicked on it. So I'm pretty sure there should be quite a good bit of warm air in there. So in case the battery was still a little frozen, hopefully it's good and warmed up now, and there should be enough warm air that if it's not completely thawed out, hopefully it's thawed out by now. And I got the battery taken out of the Escalade, so you couldn't really see what type of battery it was because of how the positive cable went up and over this. But this is a Group 48 H6 battery. Looks like just 680 cold cranking amps on this one. So I want to take it to a store. I'll throw it in the back of the truck, take the truck out. But first, I'm going to let the booster charge a little bit while I shut the truck off and while I warm up before heading out. Hopefully the truck will start right back up. Like, hopefully there'll be a fair amount of energy in there and that the battery isn't internally damaged to the point that it won't even fire up. As soon as I shut the truck off, went to fire it back up, it was back to being like 0 power dead. So this battery's probably pretty toast. And it might be something where it froze, it caused damage. To show you how much this warped, here's a straight edge. You can see the bow from where it froze. And then there's how much is bowed out from up above. So that should be nice and flat. So like this front section here is nice and flat. This side here looks like it bowed out too. So that should be pretty straight. Maybe not perfectly straight, but way straighter than it is. The bad part about if your battery freezes though is that essentially avoids any kind of warranty. So you can take it to a place, maybe they're busy and they'll just warranty it anyway, but there's a good chance someone's gonna be like, nope, that's a little bowed out, your battery froze, it's not covered. And that's even if your battery's thawed out. So looks like I'm getting a new battery. So whenever you're looking at batteries have different designations. So a lot of people are familiar with cold cranking amps, but you've got your sizes. So this is a Group 34/78 dual terminal. This one is a Group 48 H6, and a lot of times it's how it's held down. So you can kind of see this one. It's got a big lip here, and it's got these little grooves. This one, it's got this teeny tiny little lip. Then with this battery, the terminals come up and over and onto this terminal here, and these are set more towards one side. Whereas this battery, these dual terminal top ones and stuff are set pretty close to the center of the top. And then these have your standard kind of like GM style, the screw on the side ones. And looking at the two batteries, they're roughly about the same size. So they're both about, just about 7 inches. This one's about 6.5. That one's about 11 inches. That one's about 10. Height-wise, that one's about 7.5. This one's about, we'll call it 6.5 to that height. So, depending on how the battery's shaped is depend on it'll fit in your vehicle, and then depending on how it's held down. So, both of these could probably have something go up and over it to hold down from the top, depending on your vehicle. But with both of these being Chevy vehicles, they both had just a little clamper thing down here that holds them in place. And then if we look at the size of these, cold cranking amp wise, this one is about 800 cold cranking amps, while this one's only 680. So given that this one's a little wider, a little deeper, a little shorter, this one's skinnier, taller, but it's got a little bit more power. And in that, sometimes you can mix and match batteries, and it's going to differ for each vehicle. This is a mix and match one that I have anyway in here. I don't think it's normally takes like a 3478. I think it'll take either a 34 or a 78 group. So like a group 34 or a group 78. I just don't remember which one has the side terminals. Here are the new batteries. Basically, similar style batteries. So the DT 3478. And then this one has dash 72. So that just means that it's a 72-month warranty. They have 24-month free replacement. And it's just unique to this battery for that extra number. This one here is a 48. So basic group 48. 72 for the 72-month free replacement. And I kind of like these because they come from a retail store around here named Fleet Farm. They're kind of all over Minnesota. So it kind of covers like wherever I might be traveling or something. But the nice thing is that I'm not planning on moving at least right away. So I can bring this back there. And they mark the batteries. That way you don't have to worry about like the battery that I had in the truck earlier, where essentially you had to have the original receipt in order to return that battery to O'Reilly for warranty. So we can see, so 327.22 it's marked on both of these. So as long as next year I'm good, the year after that, if I leave, if this goes bad, I would need to check this before the end of March. If I get it before the end of March, I've qualified for that 2-year free replacement. So basically bring the battery in, battery test bad, get a free new one. The 72-month prorate warranty kind of sucks. It's a big drop off from the 2-month because essentially they'll prorate it. So now instead of getting a battery for free after 2 years on 3/28 of 24, if I take this in, I would get 2/3 of the value of the battery at that time, as opposed to getting a free battery. So it really behooves you, if you know when your warranty is, to keep an eye on it and not be like, oh, okay, cool, you know what, in January the battery is acting up or something like that, I'm just going to leave it in there until it's warmer. Nope, go ahead and pop that sucker out, bring it in, and see if you can get it warrantied out. And then both of these are just standard batteries, so normal lead acid. I wasn't going AGM. For me, the AGM batteries are really cool. A lot of times the AGM batteries have a longer warranty, but for price point, and because I've got backup vehicles and that little jump box, I don't really need something as fancy as an AGM. And it doesn't make sense to pay, $240 for a battery that I can buy for $140, or $200 for a battery that's $110. Batteries back in the truck. Well, new batteries in the truck. Everything's all tightened down. You need to kind of remember for the GM, this screw-in ones like that, they're just 8mm and they don't need to be tightened in super tight. So it's just threaded into like a lead terminal inside the battery. So that's just lead. It's nice and soft. You don't want to make that super duper tight. Same thing with any one of them that like go at the top and surround them at the top. Those don't have to be super tight either. You just want to make sure that nothing moves, so that once it's all tightened down, not wiggly, all the wires are nice and steady, you should be good. Dome lights on. Keys are in my hand and not in my pocket this time. And we're all good to go. And then before this gets covered up, I did kind of forget to mention that I did have a slight chance to upgrade this a little bit, because instead of having like 680 or however much that was for the cold cranking amps, now we're up to 730 cold cranking amps. Escalade batteries in. The little hold down's all good and tight. All the little braces are back on. Connections are nice and tight. Those are about the same thing. So these are pretty simple. That just tightens this little thing which squeezes down the ring and makes the ring tighter. So you don't want to over tighten that one, otherwise you'll have trouble later. But you want to make sure everything's nice and tight that you can't wiggle the cables. Got power. Fired right up. Kind of hoping the ABS light goes away miraculously. Nope, crap. Okay, well, I'll have to figure that out a different day, I guess. But on the bright side, it fired right up, so we should have a good battery in it now. We got a good battery in the Silverado again, so both these should be good to go. Alright, so it's the next day after replacing the battery and the ABS light's out, so it's possible that's all good to go, or I might have an intermittent issue with the ABS. So fingers crossed it was just the battery, and then it was able to go through enough checks that it was able to clear the light itself. Alright, so you guys got a couple dead batteries, or a dead battery. It kind of gives you some food for thought. So do you replace it yourself, or do you pay someone to do it? If you do it yourself, it might be really cold outside. And you may drop a bolt and wonder, why am I doing this myself? But you might be able to save a little bit of money depending on where you're at. And then as far as the batteries go, maybe that money you saved allows you to have like a little bit better battery. Maybe you want to go AGM because you don't want, to risk the battery freezing, because AGMs are a little bit tougher when it comes to temperatures, a little bit tougher when it comes to vibration troubles and stuff too. Or maybe you live somewhere where you got a great warranty on the batteries and locations that are pretty close by, so it's really easy to just head over and either go to one city or another city. That way it's quick and easy, everything gets taken care of. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'll check you next time. You have been worth every penny, my friend. So glad I got this.